Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 12th episode of the Maritime Wrestletime podcast. That's right, your most festive podcast for wrestling news, AEW, WWE, TNA, all others. You know it, we bring it. Welcome, guys. Zach, Patty, how you guys doing?
Good. I'm doing good.
I didn't know we were that festive.
Yeah, we're very
Yeah, really.
today.
I didn't know either. I guess we are now.
Filming a couple days before Christmas. So happy holidays to everyone. And yeah, we've got a bit of a different format for today's and the rest of the podcasts. Instead of going through the weekly stuff as we usually do, we will now be doing just a top moments from the last podcast, which is a lot of moments for this podcast, and it's going to be a great time. And we will also finish that off with Creative Team Corner. No bad booking. We will be putting that on a leave right now. May come back in the future, may not. We'll see.
Depends how bad the booking.
Depends how bad the booking is. If it's really that bad, we will definitely bring it back. But until then, it is postponed. Yeah, you guys ready to get into it?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it.
All right. So TLC.
Stands for tables, ladders, and chairs, I heard.
Tables, ladders, and it completely blew my mind.
Yeah, it was good. What do you want to start with?
So I guess we can go down the list of the matches if you guys want. Started with an 8-man tag match, which was, I guess, a bit surprising. Not really what I was expecting to happen at a TLC. Yeah, Big E, Daniel Bryan, Chad Gable, who is no longer Shorty G, thank God, and Otis.
Such a bad book.
Ended up going against King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. One thing I'd like to point out with this match is
how mighty has Shinsuke Nakamura fallen?
how mighty has Shinsuke Nakamura fallen. I remember when he came to the WWE and everyone was so excited. This guy was supposed to be the future of the company, you know? He was supposed to be the champion. He won a Rumble.
It's very reminiscent of the first time Drew McIntyre was in the company.
Yes.
And then you were like, oh my God, Vince McMahon is putting all this pressure on this kid.
Yeah.
And then he leaves and he comes back and then becomes champion. I just think the problem with that is Shinsuke is a little bit too old to like do what Drew's doing, like leave and come back. So yeah, no, I agree. Shinsuke's falling off the rails. What do you think, Pat?
I mean, it is sad. I mean, when he came in, it's just like everybody loved him. You know, especially with his music, the whole crowd be roaring just his theme song, and everybody loved him. And obviously, at WrestleMania when he turned heel or whatever, it kind of obviously it upset a lot of people. It upset a lot of people as favorite wrestler, blah blah blah. But they're doing nothing with him right now. They're just making him lose with Cesaro. I don't know what they're trying to do with him. They're kind of just like, I feel like he just doesn't have, Vince just feels like he has nothing to do with him, and he's kind of just putting him in these matches and kind of like filler matches and stuff. But I mean, I agree. It's sad to see that, but
I don't know why, but it's like Vince doesn't want him to be a single star anymore. He's constantly paired with the heels for tag teams.
Yeah.
And like as soon as it pairs up, people are like, oh, you know what, this could be good, and then they just never do anything with them.
We'll see. It's kind of around his neck that he's with Cesaro right now, because Cesaro was already the wrestler to bring up the new people.
Yeah.
Which is fine if they want to bring up a new tag team.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no tag team in WWE anymore because apparently that doesn't exist. So, like, how are you? You're going to have to make one of them go for a singles title at one point. It better not be King Corbin.
yeah, really.
That's another thing with this match. Cesaro is another person like that, I find, who they're just not utilizing properly. They're always putting him in tag matches, but Cesaro is one hell of a performer. You ask anyone in the locker room, and Cesaro is one of the hardest workers in that company for sure. I think the guy can definitely put on some great matches. And The one thing that really confused me with this match is they have Sami Zayn inside of this match, who is Intercontinental Champion. He's not defending his title.
Well, that's fine because the card was so good. I don't have a problem with the Intercontinental title not being defended. The problem I have is like when the card is bad and the Intercontinental title is still not on it. That's when I feel like it's a problem.
Okay.
But when the card was that good and all the matches paid off, I'm not that heartbroken that the IC title wasn't defended.
Go ahead, Pat.
What would they do if Sami Zayn lost that belt? Like, what would they do with Sami Zayn? That I would be very confused on what they would do because obviously before he left, he was with Shinsuke and Cesaro, but the whole COVID thing, and then he came back and everybody acted like he was gone for absolutely no reason. So it's like, okay, what would they do? Who's gonna beat Sami Zayn for that belt? Obviously, I could see Cesaro or Shinsuke beating him for that belt, kind of turning face to get that belt, and then Sami Zayn would be that the heel and stuff. But I just don't know what they would do with Sami Zayn without the belt. I have no clue.
Yeah, Sami Zayn's in a really weird spot right now, where if he's not wrestling for the belt, I feel like it's wasted talent because he's that good.
I mean, he is that good.
He's that good on the mic, in the ring, outside the ring.
It kind of makes me like. He makes me think of like Randy Orton in 2009 as a jobber. Like Randy Orton in 2009 didn't talk much, but when he talked, boy, did we ever listen. And his wrestling stuff was that kind of the cowardly kind of stuff where you go out of the ring.
Yeah,
Sami Zayn is doing that. Perfectly, but he's not going to be put on the main stage because he's doing it in like a jobber's kind of way. If he could do it on the main stage, that would be friggin' phenomenal.
I love the way they're making Sami Zayn's matches look right now. They're making it look like a video game. He's not trying to beat his opponent. He's just trying to make them ring out. He's trying to win in a very sleazy and cheesy way, but that's perfect for his character, right?
Yeah.
One thing you brought up, Patty, which I like, is you're talking about like who would be Sami Zayn, Cesaro or Shinsuke. I don't know if you guys heard this. Paul Heyman and Big E were on, I think it's called Talking Smack, the SmackDown thing. And Paul Heyman gave a huge promo hyping up Big E about how,
how nobody remembers the Shield.
Yeah.
When they start looking at Roman Reigns now.
Yeah. And then how Big E is that for the New Day and how he has the potential to be as big as Roman Reigns and how Sami Zayn's title is a good first step to get there. But that's all it is, a step, because he can achieve so much higher than that.
Yep.
And it's making me think that they're going to give him a good Mania match. I'm really hoping for it. I know a lot of people want The Rock to face Roman. I know some people have been saying Goldberg against Roman. Why not Big E?
Good point.
Why not Big E?
Good point.
It works so well too because Jey Uso is with Roman Reigns and Big E has such good chemistry with Jey Uso. It's not like they can't do something with that. It just makes too much sense in my mind for it not to be Big E with Roman.
I think you do go with Big E because me and Zach really want this, but I'd love to see Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn again for that title. I really want Kevin Owens to have a title in his hands because I think Kevin Owens is probably the best wrestler. Well, could be one of the best wrestlers in the business. And I love it when Kevin Owens wrestles, and it's just unreal. He has everything that you want in a like just in a WWE superstar. He's everything.
As much as I want to see Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, I think that Kevin Owens' performance at TLC, he needs to win the World Championship as opposed to the Intercontinental Championship. But I'm not going to be disappointed if I get that match. I'm just saying, if they're going to book this right, their only good babyface, hardworking person is Kevin Owens right now. So I think that should be the Rumble winner. We'll go on to that. Let's keep going with the TLC pay-per-view.
Yep. So, next match was Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles in a TLC match. First of all, holy crap, what a match. Like, every moment of this.
There was the first TLC match where at multiple points, I was either off my seat or being like, oh, it's ending here.
Yeah.
And it just kept going, going and going and going. So they really took advantage of that match for sure.
I did not think Miz was cashing in. That is not a thought that crossed my mind that Miz was going to cash in that match. First of all, genius decision, I think. I thought
they just didn't have. I thought honestly that they never had a plan for Money in the Bank for the men's at all this year.
Yeah,
they didn't see the bigger picture at all.
Yeah,
and if Miz would have won it in the first place, they could have done this and I would have been fine.
Yeah,
but I think that it just showed that their writing had nothing for Money in the Bank this year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely nothing.
If WWE is trying to tell us that their whole plan was for Otis to win it, then lose it to The Miz, no, you're absolutely out of your mind. There's no way that was the original plan for the briefcase. The one controversial thing, which is something that happened on Raw, is that technically The Miz did not cash in the briefcase. It was John Morrison. Do you guys think that they're going to give Miz the briefcase back? Because he's trying to get it.
No, I don't think. I think it's
a 5-star promo on Monday Night Raw.
They can't give it back. There's no way. There's literally no way that they can keep going with this and try to just. They're trying to literally suck everything out of this Money in the Bank story as much as they can, and it's just. Oh, I don't know. I mean, if they do, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to win it? Like, do you think he's going to cash in and actually win it? I don't see him cashing it. No, maybe in one of the next pay-per-views, but I still think it's not even close.
10 years ago is when The Miz last had the Money in the Bank and cashed in. Right? I did not think he was going to win it back then, and he did. I think they could throw us a curveball, and especially with the way that he threw his promo out about how he's been working his ass off for the past 10 years just to get an opportunity at that chance once again, and he blew it. And he actually apologized to AJ Styles for messing up his chance at winning a title, which was really odd, but emotional and fitting for The Miz, I think. It's character development that I was not expecting or ready for, but that I was very happy about.
Just a shame because there's only one belt per brand. And, one main title belt per brand. And if you look at Raw has this loaded roster of just superstars that not only do we think will win, but need to win.
Yeah.
So, like, you have Keith Lee that's coming up. You have Sheamus that's coming up all of a sudden. You have Miz that's still there. You have Morrison that nobody thinks of because everybody's looking at The Miz.
Yep.
You have AJ Styles that's there. They had to suspend Braun Strowman because they had nothing for him probably, or he's on vacation. And then you go to SmackDown, and you get this huge thing for Kevin Owens. And then you start looking at the roster of SmackDown, and you're like, well, who could even go after Roman right now at this point? And the dark horse for me is Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Maybe coming back as a burn it down face because that Monday Night Messiah was kind of dwindling anyways.
Yeah.
So it's just the roster is too low. There's only one belt. And if Miz is going to try to fight and get his Money in the Bank contract back, good for him. Good luck. I don't think he's going to get it back. I think he cashed in and you move on. And I think the match that I want to see would be Miz versus Morrison.
Yeah.
Make it like Miz versus Shane at WrestleMania. Just make it Miz versus Morrison. Because it elevates Miz. When he has matches against people for no belts at WrestleMania, it elevates them.
There's like... I will never forget that Miz versus Shane match because of how high quality it was for a match that I wasn't expecting it to be as high quality.
Yeah.
Not that I don't think Shane is a good wrestler. He has his flaws.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about them, but he has his flaws. In the ring, he pushes himself too far sometimes. He tries to do a bit too much, which is odd for wrestling to say that, but it's true. He really does. He tries to go too far sometimes. I thought that match with The Miz was really solid. They both had really good chemistry together, and just the story of the match itself was solid.
Do you think they might have Miz and Morrison fight for the Money in the Bank title?
I don't think that,
briefcase?
I just rather see him fight. I think the way to do it is Morrison would eliminate Miz maybe at the Rumble.
That, or you can, like, there's an easy conflict already because Morrison's the one that technically cashed in, right?
Right.
So you set it up where The Miz just can't get his Money in the Bank briefcase back, and then he goes into a frenzy, and he's very upset about the whole situation and just pins it on Morrison, and then Morrison kind of just says, like, yeah, I wanted to sabotage you. You know, you've been putting me in the back. I've been your shadow for so long. There was a poster that Miz made for the promo he made against AJ, where it was him, AJ, and Omos, but Morrison wasn't there. And then Morrison kind of commented on it, and they just all ignored him.
Yeah.
Everyone's ignoring Morrison, you know?
Yeah, I just, like, you're trying to plan out your WrestleMania matches, and I'm trying to plan out what AJ is going to be. Now, I don't know if they're going to if they make Kevin Owens win the Rumble, you could have AJ versus Drew at WrestleMania, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting few weeks because we're at the point where you start to know what the WrestleMania matches are, but we don't know there yet.
Quickly before we go to the next match, I just want to kind of point out that with this match, everyone is talking about AJ and The Miz, but no one talks about Drew, I feel like Drew is a champion, but he's not the champion. If you know what I mean by that.
No, I know what you mean by that.
He's dominant, sure. Do I think it takes someone big? I mean, big as in popularity, big and like big in wrestling, to beat him? Yes, absolutely. But do I think that he's as much of a challenge as Roman Reigns right now for a title? No, absolutely not. Yeah. I don't think he's as big as Roman. He's not bringing as much as Roman.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think the dogs agree too.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to hear that in the filming. Yeah, I agree.
So we move on with the next match. Sasha Banks versus Carmella.
Carmella looked a lot stronger.
Yeah, she looked solid.
She looked a lot stronger. All her moves hit. I don't know who to applaud here.
Yeah.
Do I applaud Carmella for being a better wrestler, or do I applaud Sasha Banks because she makes everybody better?
I think you do. I think you can do both.
I'm thinking of right now.
I think you can do both. Technically, I mean, if it wasn't for both of them, like if you remove one of them from the match, it would be worse, right? I mean, depending on who you obviously put in the match, but I think it was a really good match between, especially a very good comeback match for Carmella and kind of proving that she can just do more than what she did before. And I'm glad Sasha won. I'm glad that she defended the title. I thought she was actually going to lose when her Carmella's butler got in the way, but she didn't, and she won. And I mean, if I kind of would have been happy for both, because Sasha can, still feud with Carmella, and if Carmella would have won, maybe it would have branched off into a new story and could have done something else with Sasha Banks, or maybe Sasha Banks would have went on vacation or did her thing, and then maybe Bayley win it from Carmella, do a WrestleMania match with Sasha comes back. But I mean, that's just me. But
yeah, I think you're right in saying that you can't really take either of these people out of the match. Sasha Banks versus Carmella was the match that was needed for both of them. Carmella coming back needed to have a match where she looked good and looked strong against someone good and strong, and that's exactly what happened. I think Carmella losing here is the right choice too. It doesn't take anything away from Carmella. she still has opportunities in the future to capture this title, or go to Raw, do that. But I think props to both of these people, Sasha Banks for
this puts just to piggyback. This puts a better intrigue for the Rumble now.
Yeah,
just because you could probably name on your hand how many people are going to win the Women's Rumble. Like you could probably say Alexa Bliss, you could probably say Bayley. You could even say maybe an upstart like a Bianca Belair or something like that. But I think that would be more like a side.
I could see Bianca being like a top 4 in the Rumble.
Yeah, but not like the winner, right?
Yeah.
I think Carmella puts herself in the spot where she could actually win the Rumble.
Yeah, she's a good dark horse. I don't think she's
not Bayley or Bayley or Sasha or Charlotte or Shayna. Becky or Shayna.
Yeah.
She's right there. That she could win, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All around, really solid match. Really happy with the way it turned out, and I think it's one step in the direction of fixing the problem that we've talked about a lot, which is how weak the women's division has been for WWE. It gives another credible woman to go for the title, which is definitely what we needed. Moving on to the match that I still want to watch every single week for the next 10 years, which is the New Day versus their Hurt Business.
So, can I just say about the Hurt Business?
Yeah.
So, MVP shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You have Bobby Lashley, who's making out with Lana.
Yep.
You have Shelton Benjamin, who can't even be on the roster pretty much.
Yep.
And you have Cedric Alexander, who's jobbing for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And in not even a year, he's made them U.S. champ and tag team champs.
Yeah.
That's all it took.
And he made them look all really strong together.
Exactly. So props to writing for that one.
You know what? I don't want to give props to writing. I'm guaranteeing that this was one of their ideas. This was not WWE creative. There's no one that can convince me that this was a WWE idea.
I'll give it to MVP then.
I will gladly give that to MVP or Shelton or whoever came up with the idea, but I do not think this was creative.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Where do they go from here?
What do you mean?
So who do you put against the Hurt Business? What are you gonna do? Are you just gonna kind of put the New Day against them again, or what do you think that's gonna happen?
I honestly think it doesn't matter. I think you just have to keep the titles on these guys for a while. I think the smart move, which is an interesting one, is to make Bobby drop his title to MVP. Have Bobby go for the world title against Drew.
And do you think should
Bobby? That's not what I see.
I don't think he can win it, but I think it would be.
Here's what I see. The way I see it is Keith Lee has to be in the Hurt Business somehow.
Or that.
The way I see it would be that Keith Lee would be final 3, let's say. Mm-hmm. Him in the Rumble, him, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And then Kevin would be saying to Keith, we have to eliminate the biggest threat, which is Bobby Lashley. And then Keith would eliminate Kevin Owens, and then Bobby Lashley would either eliminate himself or just raise up Keith Lee. I'm assuming that Lashley would eliminate himself.
Yeah. Just walk out of the ring.
Yeah, if it was that big of a moment. Right? Yeah. And then Keith Lee would win. And then Keith Lee could be champion of the Hurt Business. And all those 5 guys, because MVP is not going to bump forever anymore. Yeah. And I think that they need that big presence, and I think Keith Lee would be the guy. But if they want to make Keith Lee heel, because Keith Lee versus McIntyre doesn't happen face versus face. It would have to happen face versus heel, and I don't think anybody wants to see McIntyre as a heel right now. So that's what I see.
Not that I think Keith Lee is stale. I love his character. I love him.
His promos are okay.
His promos are pretty good. Yeah, he's decent on the mic. He's better than I thought he would be on the mic.
Yeah.
But I just something for Vince to want to push him.
Yeah.
And currently he doesn't have that edge. And
you know what his edge was? Fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have the fans around him anymore.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. He had the fans on his side, but I don't know if Vince would have necessarily taken that into account, because think back when Rusev Day was the biggest fucking thing and he still wasn't getting pushed.
But Rusev did never fit the championship circle because it was always Brock Lesnar or those guys.
I guess,
but now Brock's out of the picture.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's not. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
But that would be my money's worth, anyways.
So yeah, we talk about Hurt Business. Talk about New Day.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they looked really solid in the match, but yeah, I think they have to do something with the New Day.
Yes.
Think they're going to go into singles careers?
I think it would be a good step, but realistically, do you see Xavier Woods having a successful singles career in WWE with Vince McMahon in charge?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. It's not that he's not talented. I just don't think Vince would give him a spotlight.
Exactly.
And I can't see who's he fight. Can't go for Bobby. Can't go for Drew.
It's dwindling.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. Like, Big E, at the point where he's got his own theme song. He's got his old stuff back.
Yep.
He's doing all these things by himself.
Yep.
And now it's kind of a lingering feeling of, well, is Kofi and Xavier going to stay together forever? That kind of is probably not going to be how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of their contracts coming up? Maybe. Xavier's contract could be maybe coming up.
Yeah.
There's a few things that could be happening, but we won't know until something drastic happens. Do you see one of them turning heel?
I'd see Xavier turning heel.
Yeah.
Kind of with the idea of, like, you know, he's always been, I guess, like the third member of the New Day.
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
yeah, you could do something along
Some kind of angle.
But the heel guy should have been Big E.
Yeah.
Real. But yeah, I don't know.
It should have been Big E turning on both of them and beating both of them.
Yeah,
but
I think to me you got to keep that tag team together because there's not enough tag teams.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that, because if not them, who challenges the Hurt Business?
Exactly.
The Hardy Bros, like
Retribution.
Oh no.
Do you not see a scenario where Hurt Business versus Retribution at WrestleMania?
I see the scenario, but do I like it? No.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you think, Pat?
I mean, you can't. I agree with both of you that you can't cut another tag team because it's already thin as it is, and like there's just not enough tag teams unless they bring up somebody. They bring up, you know, maybe a couple people, or they bring up, you know, a tag team, or bring up somebody, or just to do something with the New Day, and maybe they can, you know, kind of rival the New Day being like the kind of old guys against the new guys, and maybe, you know, they push them over maybe. But the thing, like, as soon as they got rid of Big E, I think everybody knew what was coming. I think everybody knew that they were going to lose the belts to the Hurt Business, and it's, for me, I mean, they are one of the best tag teams of all time. Like, they've won so many tag teams together, and just kind of getting rid of Big E, and I hope Big E does get a title. I really hope he does. I on turning heel thing, I don't know about that. I don't know if one of them would turn heel. Obviously it would have to be Xavier Woods. I couldn't see Kofi being heel. But yeah, I don't know what they would do for New Day. I guess we'll just have to see what WWE does, because, you know, only WWE knows what WWE is gonna do.
Very true statement. Very true statement. I think we should move on to the next match.
Yep.
Talked enough about these guys. Next match was Asuka and Mystery Partner versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
She's back.
I think we all knew as soon as they announced Mystery Partner, it was going to be Charlotte Flair. Are we excited?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. The Queen is back, and she's in power. As she said on Raw, her first day in the Thunderdome, she's champion. Fitting. It makes so much sense. We had the problem when Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler first captured the titles of saying, like, who could defeat them, you know? Asuka and Charlotte makes perfect sense.
Yep.
My only problem with this match now is Asuka has the Bayley slot, I think. She has her Raw title, and she has the tag title.
It feels like Charlotte needs to turn heel all of a sudden.
What? It's. I had a thought where WrestleMania would be Asuka and Charlotte defending their title against whoever, But then in a singles match, it would be Asuka versus Charlotte as well.
Yep.
Which usually the way they do it is they have the tag match first and then the singles match. But I think it would be interesting to see the reverse.
I think it'd be interesting to see the tag team titles go to people that aren't that big.
Yeah. That's why I think you do the reverse first. Asuka faces Charlotte. They have a grueling match, a brutal match.
Yeah.
In which they're both exhausted, and then they have to face I don't know, someone like Peyton Royce and who's she with again?
Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke. It's not the most exciting tag team champions, but it's a change, and it's promoting people who maybe need a title or something to push themselves further. Doesn't necessarily have to be
Dana Brooke with Mandy Rose.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Dayton's with Lacey Evans.
Lacey, that's it. Which makes more sense, I think.
Yeah, I think honestly they should abolish the women's tag team championships. That's the roster isn't just strong enough. I mean, they're going to have enough for a 30-woman Rumble, but they don't have. They had one tag team in Female that they established and they brought up, and they broke them up.
Yeah.
So, you're gonna book yourself into a corner with this match, and there doesn't have to be a female tag team WrestleMania match.
Mm-hmm.
There's already a friggin' women's over the top rope battle royal match for everybody else.
Yep.
So you're booking yourself into a corner unless this tag team comes out of nowhere and just demolishes everyone. But I don't want to the Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax was good.
Yep.
But they should be single stars.
I think they will be from now on.
They probably will be.
Yeah.
And I think they took the belt because they just didn't have a choice. Who else would you going to put it on?
Yep.
And their lack of having female tag team wrestlers is going to hurt them eventually. So I say just abolish the titles and move on.
Yeah, I agree with that. We've always had the problem with David. It's been a weak division for the female tag teams.
Unless you call up Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai.
But I don't want that. I don't want to see them as a tag team called up like that.
Yeah.
If they're being called up, I'd like to see single stars. And at that point, you have Rhea Ripley that you can call up. You have Toni Storm.
Yeah.
Candice LeRae.
There's a few good names in
there. There's so much talent.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the women's tag match. We'll move on now to Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a TLC match. It was a good match.
I don't know, got anything to say that much. There was two good TLC matches.
Yeah.
We usually only get one. We got two good ones. They're going to be icing their bodies, but not for long because apparently there's a steel cage match on Friday.
Wow.
Reigns versus Owens again.
Wow.
So that's what's making me think that Kevin Owens is going to win the Rumble because they're putting him through the gauntlet before prove that he can win it or something like that. But no, there was a good match. Kevin was good. I really liked that the announcers kept saying that he would never give up. That's kind of like a good thing to promote, especially for a face.
Yeah.
And
isn't that John Cena's thing?
China, I guess. John Cena's not here, so that's another thing we haven't talked about for WrestleMania. Who's going to face John Cena?
Cena.
Anyways, good match. I don't know if Pat, you got anything to add, but I thought it was just a great match.
No, I mean, you can definitely tell that if, Jay didn't interfere, obviously we all knew he was. I think Kevin Owens most likely would have won. And it's just, every time you see him in a match, it's just super exciting. So,
yeah, that's one thing I find interesting, that they use Jay a lot in the matches with Roman. It's kind of making Roman look a little bit weak, don't you think?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Jay.
I don't see it that way. I see it as a stable thing, for the family kind of thing. You could see it that way, I guess, but at the same time,
it's only because there's been a lot of close moments where Jay has helped, but that's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I think he's just got to prove himself to Roman first, and then when that's Roman, Roman will be the winner most of the time for the next year or so.
But yeah, nothing much to say about that match. Solid match, really good match.
Yeah, was that your favorite or was
No, I still think my favorite was the Drew.
Yeah,
It was just
But my favorite was the next match.
what?
The Inferno match.
The Firefly Inferno match.
Okay, so watching the match, I'm seeing all these bumps happen in the ring.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the fire?
Yeah.
Why aren't we seeing any fire?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, the Fiend lifts his arms and there's fire everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So props to WWE for using their limited space that they had, because that was not. I was just shocked that they had so much. Like, you would have thought back in the day it was just a small square around the ring, but they had fire going everywhere around.
I think the only reason they could do it like this is because there was no crowd.
Because there was no crowd, they could afford it.
Mhm.
And the Fiend, when the Fiend goes up, I literally had a moment of thinking, like, this is real. Like, they had me. Like, I thought this was real at the point. But then when I see the Fiend, like, being on fire, I can see the effects and stuff, and I was okay with it. Did I expect Randy Orton to put the Fiend to a crisp? Absolutely not, but I loved it. And it makes me really excited to see what they're going to do with the Fiend next.
Yeah.
That's why he might not be a dark horse. I think he'd be the heavy favorite to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
But what story are you building for WrestleMania? Who's he going to face? There's a bunch of questions, but the Firefly Inferno match had my attention the whole time.
Yeah, I think one thing that did kind of bother me, I don't know, it might not bother a lot of people because of this reason, because of the match type, but that's another loss to the Fiend's record.
Yeah, but he was literally dead. There's no other way to beat the Fiend.
the thing is, when the Fiend loses, it's not just like, oh, Randy Orton hit an RKO, 1, 2, 3. Like, yeah, Randy had to basically try to murder the Fiend in order to beat him.
Yeah, it was just to put him on fire, really, was the way to win. So
the way I see it, there was no way that the Fiend was winning it. Not that Randy wouldn't agree to.
Randy wasn't going on fire.
Yeah, Randy just wasn't going on fire. It just wasn't happening. It's too much of a Fiend Bray Wyatt thing to not happen. And the way they did it was so good too.
I think that's the only way you could have made Randy win. Literally killing the Fiend. So they booked it the right way.
When's the last time WWE had an Inferno match?
Question.
That was a long time ago. It was probably Kane, but
WWE. Sounds like a Kane thing.
Sounds like a Kane thing. The last match I saw was Kane versus Undertaker in an Inferno match, but I know it's not the last one that happened. Because didn't he have one with Kennedy?
It's a bunch of different matches I'm looking at here.
I'm pretty sure Kane had one with Mr. Kennedy or MVP. It was MVP. Maybe it was
the first Inferno match was in '87 in Puerto Rico, of course.
Yeah.
First WWF match was Unforgiven '98, Kane and Taker.
Yeah.
And it looks like the last one was WCW did one.
Okay.
Was Sting and Vampiro.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's only one. There might have been. There's a Ring of Fire match at SummerSlam, Kane versus Bray.
Oh, okay.
That we forgot.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the one. I thought there was another one. Wasn't MVP?
Yeah, MVP was in one.
I thought
it was either Taker or Kane. I can't remember.
Kennel from Inferno match.
But yeah, MVP.
I thought it was in one.
MVP Inferno match. Yeah, versus Kane at Armageddon 2006.
Yeah, so there's been a few. Yes, they're not all listed here, but there's been a few. There's been about 5.
Yeah. But yeah, that was TLC.
Yeah, great pay-per-view. Shout out to WWE. Hopefully the rest of the way is good.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, we are now moving on to Wargames.
Wargames! That's on me.
Yes.
Didn't see the pre-show match. It was Santos Escobar and his gang with other guys that I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to go over that one. Plus it was the pre-show. Really talk about the pre-show that much. The first match was the females Wargames match.
Yes.
Apparently Candice LeRae broke some bone in her arm or something. So that was interesting. Mm-hmm. She's okay though. I think she's still on TV.
Yeah.
Here's what I was impressed by. Pretty much everything. Io was fantastic. Rio was fantastic.
Yeah,
Ember was fantastic.
of course.
Dakota Kai was phenomenal. I think Dakota Kai took the most bumps. Raquel looked great. Toni Storm looked great.
Thank God she's not injured.
Candice, I'll give her the pass because of the injury.
Yeah.
Shotzi, I had some tough time with Shotzi.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was because of the environment, but the way she was swinging those things, it looked like she didn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah,
and that kind of defeats the purpose of the Wargames match. So the rest of her wrestling was fine, even though I think that it is her that broke Candice LeRae's arm. But I think that the right call was to make her captain. But at the same time, I think she needs a little bit more time in NXT before they even think about calling her.
Yeah. So I'm a big Shotzi fan, but like even I was kind of.
It just didn't look natural.
It wasn't.
That was the thing for me. It didn't look natural for her swinging those things and doing some of the moves.
With everyone else in there being willing to hurt everyone else.
Exactly.
And everyone being willing to take the bumps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Shotzi I don't think she was in the right mindset for it.
No.
Which is not a good thing. This is really not a good thing.
But the Raquel was the right person to win. The other people on the good team or the face team didn't need to win any of this.
Yeah.
They just did it because it was probably fun for them.
Yep.
So Raquel won. That makes sense.
Yep.
And the match was good. Nothing was bad.
Yep.
Ciampa and Thatcher were really good. Thatcher is
hell of a wrestler.
I would hate to be wrestling in WWE for 10 years and then all of a sudden have to face Thatcher. Because I was watching Ciampa halfway through and I was like, he's gassed. Like his face was red. I'd never seen Ciampa so exhausted.
Yeah.
They got something with Timothy Thatcher.
Thatcher pushes people and he's so technical. This guy is amazing.
The problem with that will be like what's going to be his role in the future. How is his talking going to be? Is he going to be a star kind of person? What's the role here? But if Vince wants another Bret Hart that just hasn't figured it out on the mic yet, he's got it.
That's bold.
But his technical game is that good.
Yeah.
And against Ciampa worked him too, but Thatcher was worked. The match was 16 minutes long. It felt like Ciampa only had like the last 5 minutes to do his things.
Yep.
So, good for both of them. Good match. Loomis versus Grimes.
Yes.
I know you've come to love Dexter Loomis.
I love Loomis.
Yeah, nothing to say. It was good. The thing for me with Cameron Grimes is going to be interesting to see like what he does like after. But Dexter Loomis is just appalled every time I watch him. Every time I see his face getting up and not moving a muscle, I'm like, ooh, here we go.
I would love to see him enter the Rumble.
Yep, absolutely.
Just stare Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, face to face.
But see, I think that's what they're gearing up for. I think they might keep Dexter Loomis for a long time in NXT just to be ready for the Fiend.
Yeah, which is I think it's a smart move.
Yeah, 100%. After that, it was a triple threat: Gargano, Priest, and Ruff.
Can't believe Ruff didn't win.
Ruff needs to go to 205 Live. He was really good.
Ruff needs to go to 105 Live.
No, but
yeah,
Ruff is a good wrestler.
Yeah,
he should stay in that company and try to make something in 205.
I think that's why they put the title on him for like that short period of time, just because no one was talking about Ruff. No one knew who Ruff was, and they just needed the exposure.
Yeah.
So there's a reason they didn't keep the title on him, and that's fine. You didn't need to keep the title on him.
Gargano wins. Not a problem there.
Yep.
Priest looked good.
Yep.
And it looks like Priest versus Kross might be in the works.
I love that.
We'll talk about that after. And finally, the men's Wargames match. I got nothing to say. It was a great match. Pat McAfee showed up to play. Kind of looked like when he jumped off the cell, he just landed straight on his back like nobody caught him.
Yeah.
It felt like I was like, oh my god, he's gonna lose his place.
Yeah, I thought that was a tough bump.
He took all of it. As a guy who's not supposed to be a wrestler, apparently. Pete Dunne was amazing, like he always is. Birch and Lorcan were okay. I'm trying to warm up to them as champions.
Yeah.
And Undisputed Era, well,
they're Undisputed Era.
They're Undisputed Era.
There's nothing more to say.
No, it was a good match. It was a great NXT Wargames.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I had just a slight problem with was Shotzi, and I'm trying to get over it because I know she's good.
Yeah.
So, but the rest was good.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys did you watch Wargames, Pat? Did you want to talk about it?
I actually didn't. Like I said, I missed TLC because I thought it was next Sunday, but I did watch some highlights. I know. I mean, no matter what, who's in War Games, it's gonna be good. I mean, just the whole concept of War Games. I wish WWE had it, but I'm glad NXT has it because it's something that WWE doesn't have. That's amazing, and I watch highlights of it all the time, like just on YouTube, just older ones, and they're absolutely amazing. So I know the way that you guys are like talking and stuff, and I totally agree with you guys, everything you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I bet it was really good. I didn't watch it, but I'm definitely gonna have to watch it soon.
I think the one thing with War Games is I'm happy it's an NXT pay-per-view and not a WWE one.
Yeah, because Vince would ruin the shit out of it.
Vince's pay-per-views are too safe compared to NXT pay-per-views.
Yep.
They NXT pay-per-views are really they push themselves.
That's why we remember the matches more.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That's clearly why.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I'm very happy with the War Games pay-per-view and how it turned out. Good pay-per-view.
Yep. What was better, War Games or TLC? TLC. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Which is it's hard
hard to say.
It's hard for me to say that a WWE pay-per-view surpassed an NXT pay-per-view, but I genuinely do believe
But
it.
it always seems like the pay-per-views before WrestleMania are the better ones.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're not trying to fill and stuff. They know what they're going for. And,
Yep.
But anyways, I'm not going to nitpick anymore. What's the next topic?
Sting.
Oh my God.
He's back.
He is back. What do you think they're going to do with Sting? Like, is it going to be Cody, the first one that's going to face Sting?
You know what? I don't think you should go for titles.
Like, Cody doesn't have a champion.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it in general. I don't think Sting should be going for titles.
Yeah.
I think he's... I mean this with absolute respect. This is not an insult. I think Sting is an attraction.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Wrestler. He's a great performer, but he's an attraction. He's not what the company should bill as their top star.
Yeah, he's a Goldberg. He's an attraction just to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You pay to see the attempt.
Exactly.
You're not paying to see a 5-star match every time.
Exactly. You're paying for the character, not for the title win.
Yeah.
Cody could be a good match.
If Darby Allin loses the belt,
yeah,
that's gonna be a good match.
I'm thinking Dustin
versus Sting. Yeah.
I think they could work something well.
Yeah. They could work well with anybody in friggin' AEW.
Yeah.
Sting versus Jericho.
That'd be great.
Would sell out.
Yeah.
Like that.
You know,
Jericho's starting to look a little bit heavy there.
Yeah,
he's starting to go over
that's
there.
true. He's looking like
He's
a
in
soccer
his 50s
mom.
now.
He's looking like a...
No, AJ Styles is a soccer mom, and he doesn't look anything like that.
He's looking like like he is in a band. Well,
he looks like he's in a band. Oh wait.
Hear me out on this. It's not Sting's usual style, but I would love to see him go against Brian Cage.
I see Brian Cage versus Lance Archer first.
I agree. I would like to see Brian Cage go against Sting.
I just think it's going to be Cody first. Cody's going to get.
I'm not saying first.
No, I know. Eventually, well, it depends how long Sting's going to stay. He's not a young guy. He's probably going to wrestle in the 2-3 pay-per-views that they have, and maybe a few matches here and there. But most of his regular matches will probably just be squash.
Yeah.
So
that is true.
You're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But very excited. I think that was the right move for Sting, was to go to AEW and be like giving them a little bit more relevancy.
Yeah.
It was the perfect time to bring him over.
Mm-hmm.
The whole crowd that was there, I've seen some videos of people just losing their minds. And I lost my mind too when I saw it. So
the whole internet lost their mind.
Yeah. He definitely brings something to their brand that they didn't have.
Yep.
And the experience that the kids are going to get, MJF, Sammy Guevara, just having him back there will be huge. So I 100% agree with spending money on getting Sting.
So yeah, let's move on to the next point. We talked about it a little bit, but we're gonna go more into detail, which is Charlotte's return.
Woohoo!
Patty.
I'm excited. I'm excited to have, just some new things in the women's division. I should say new. There's like some exciting things in the women's division that we've been having. Obviously, I know Zach loves Charlotte Flair, so I mean, I really like her. She's obviously, in my opinion, and I know maybe some other people's opinions, probably the best female wrestler in the business and maybe ever. But yeah, I'm glad she won those tag team championships. I don't know, with her and Asuka, I don't know who they would lose it to. That's the thing. I don't know, like, unless Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler win it.
You know how they're going to lose it?
Uh,
Charlotte's going to turn on Asuka.
Yeah.
I feel like that too, and I feel like the thing is, which happens with some superstars, like the wrestlers, is that even though they turn heel, they don't really turn heel. Like, I don't know if you know what I mean. It's like when
Fans
they turn,
still support them.
yeah. Even when she still turns heel, everybody's just gonna do like, woo! Like, even when she does it, nobody's gonna care because it's Charlotte Flair, it's Ric Flair's daughter. So I mean, and it's just Charlotte Flair, of course, but.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. I think they work with some kind of angle where it's, she has her tag team championships, but she's like, I have this title. I want that title.
Yeah.
I think the Asuka's title right now.
I mean, it's still a little early for the WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
That's probably what it's going to be, and I'm fine with it. I think that they can be tag team champs for a little bit. Asuka's probably going to have to do double duty again. Can we just take a second to appreciate how many matches Asuka's had this year?
An insane amount.
She's had double pay-per-view matches, like 3 times, I think.
She's picked up matches for people who weren't able to do their matches.
So props to her for doing all that.
She's fucking carrying that company.
Yeah. But I don't know. I see Charlotte winning the belt at Mania.
Yeah.
I see Asuka. See, I don't know how you do it.
See, do you know what I see? I think what you do is you make Charlotte win the Rumble, and you do a reverse of the Asuka versus Charlotte match that they did the last time at Mania.
Or you could make Charlotte turn on Asuka for the tag team belts. It doesn't matter too.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, I was tired of that belt, but I'm not tired of that belt.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You got to make Charlotte look like the heel here because Asuka can't play heel. She's just too lovable.
She really is.
Can't make her a heel.
Yeah, that's true.
She's forever a babyface. But
Charlotte's back and everybody's happy.
Everybody's very happy
because they need some females in there to push the new ones to be as good as she is. She's perfect for that.
Do you think they try to do something with her and Andrade since they're together?
No.
We'll see when Andrade comes back.
Yeah.
No, please
Andrade
no.
with her, great. If he doesn't, what would even be the match?
Bray and Alexa. It'd be interesting, but it's such a weird match. It's a weird mix.
It's a weird matchup for Andrade and Bray.
Yeah.
Charlotte and Alexa we've seen. But Andrade and Bray would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Charlotte returning. To our third return, Karrion Kross.
The killer's back.
I am so happy. I am.
That's the only guy-female match I would see. Fiend versus Alexa right now.
Yeah,
it's Kross and Scarlett versus Alexa and Fiend.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it this year, you better do it next year because I think everybody wants to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once Karrion gets called up, I think he'll be one of Vince's guys because I think Vince will just be afraid of him at that point.
Yeah,
and be like, the way you look, the way you go, win whatever you want.
The way he carries himself in the ring is so brutal. He doesn't care. He just fucks you up.
He's gonna get to Damian Priest and he's gonna beat up Damian Priest pretty hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I think they brought him back the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And are you excited, Pat, for Karrion Kross?
You know what? I don't watch a lot of NXT. I can tell you that, but I know Karrion Kross and I know who the Fiend is. And I'm not I'm not too smart, but I'm not that dumb to know that would be an amazing match.
Very well put.
Fair enough.
Moving on to our last point before Creative Team Corner, the WrestleMania 37 card.
So apparently, it's obviously rumored. There's supposed to be 3 matches that are being locked in. Obviously, and you've seen this many times. It obviously could change, but from what I'm looking online, it appears that the 3 biggest matches that WrestleMania will get this year is a rematch, Edge versus Randy Orton again, which I'm not. It wouldn't be bad. I just don't know how they would top themselves from the last 2.
Yeah.
Roman would get Goldberg because they wanted that match last year and it couldn't happen because of Roman. So they want it this year.
Don't they have like Twitter beef right now or something?
So I think Goldberg was on the bump.
Yeah,
he said something that Roman was next.
Yeah, he said you're next, and then Roman was like, I decide who's next.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And the third match would be a triple threat: McIntyre, Brock, and the winner of the Royal Rumble, Keith Lee.
Ooh.
So those are the 3 rumored matches. And that's why people were saying, why is Vince sending Keith Lee to the Performance Center?
I just want everyone to know that I got shivers when he said that. Drew, Brock, and Keith Lee.
And then Keith would win and be...
Wow.
Which would be the biggest push.
That's such a good match.
I mean, the questions for these matches are... First, let's start with Randy and Edge.
Yeah.
They already had the greatest wrestling match ever.
Yeah.
How would you top that? That's my big question.
Oh, you add Shane McMahon into the...
But you also have that worry of Edge's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
So you got to think about what you're going to do there.
Do you know what you do? You give him the Shawn Michael Undertaker stipulation. Edge.
Yeah. You could do that, I guess. And have him fight for... Yeah, okay. You can fix that, I guess.
But, like, fight for their career? Like...
Yeah,
fight Edge. It wouldn't be Randy's career. It'd be if Edge loses, he loses his career.
Okay.
But Randy would win it, or no, Edge would win it for Randy.
That's what
I don't know. I think you make
Edge isn't gonna retire. He just came back.
He just came back from literally like what?
Oh, okay. He signed for 3 years then. Yeah.
Yeah, you do that next year.
Yeah.
You do that next year.
The Goldberg Reigns match is gonna be just Roman Reigns Brock match.
Is it just going to be?
Goldberg's not going to go for that long.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a 5-minute match at most.
Yeah. And
it's probably going to be like
make Goldberg win?
Years.
Make Goldberg win, Pat?
I don't want.
No. You. If you want to solidify Roman to be the top dog, you have to make him win.
Unless you make a Goldberg retirement match.
Because it's Spear versus
exactly.
Spear. They both went for it.
You mean like Edge and Batista? And they clashed heads at Rumble?
Did that actually happen?
In a Rumble. They speared and they hit each other head to head.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But that would be freaking interesting.
I think, the thing is about the retirement match with Goldberg. So do you have 2 retirement matches where you have Edge is on the line and Goldberg is on the line? And then you make Edge win and Goldberg lose?
It'd be interesting that way.
Yeah, but that'd be fine.
I think the way the match goes is the match starts, Goldberg hits a spear, another spear, jackhammer, Reigns kicks out.
At 1.
At 1.
There's a few ways, but I think that the triple threat would be the good match. I think of the 3 matches that are there, that's the match I want.
It's the match that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, and Brock would work Keith, and Keith would work. McIntyre is just in the middle, and it sucks for McIntyre because he's probably going to lose. But at the same time, he's got a year where he was champion. And
I think that's the thing. I don't think you can make McIntyre remain champion after Mania. I don't think you can do it.
One thing that I like, though, that's going on right now, I like how Paul Heyman is actually starting to talk more. And,
that's true.
So, I'm glad that he's talking more. I'm glad that he's actually getting into it and not just looking at Roman Reigns every time, he lifts the championship. So I'm glad he's talking finally. Yeah, and I would agree if Keith Lee won, holy, that would be crazy. That'd be unreal. But the thing is, I could also see like the thing with Brock Lesnar, if that does happen, because we don't know 100% it's confirmed. What would you do about the Paul Heyman situation with Brock if he does return? Like, would you just put Brock Lesnar by himself, or would you?
Brock would be on Raw anyways.
So we just have Paul Heyman do one on each brand.
I don't think you have Paul go with Brock.
Yeah. I think honestly that Brock is just so big of an attraction now, he just has to show up.
I know in WWE Brock hasn't talked much on the mic, but when he was in the UFC, Brock could talk. Like, he wasn't like amazing at promos.
You could just be like, I don't know. You could have McIntyre and Keith Lee just not listen to whoever's managing Raw, and the guy could be like, "You guys don't want to listen to me? Fine." The week before WrestleMania, your match is a triple threat now, and it includes this guy, and then Brock comes out.
Yep.
So you're gonna have to make him talk if you don't want to.
So
go ahead.
So one last question about WrestleMania. Do you think this is the year that it's a retirement match for John Cena?
I think he's got a few more.
Yeah.
You think he's got a few more?
To want to retire.
Not necessarily that he's too young. He's just too in shape.
That too.
Edge was in shape, but John has been in shape the whole time, and he's worked out the whole time. So because Edge's injuries was to try to get them back at a point where he could wrestle again. John's body is too good to not wrestle. I think John's probably got 3 left.
Who do you think he goes against if he has a match this year? Elias?
Hell no. Daniel Bryan.
Pretty good.
Daniel Bryan's nice. Kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. Big E.
That would be a good match.
Big E versus
Pass
John
the
Cena.
torch to Big E.
Yep, that would be good.
I was thinking, so if the whole Keith Lee thing doesn't, if he doesn't win the Rumble, I was thinking of kind of passing the torch to Keith Lee, but I don't know if
McIntyre if he loses. 4.
I'd be okay with that. Have McIntyre. See, I just think no matter who it is, Cena has to go down.
Yeah,
Cena can't win it.
I'm trying to look at who there's not a lot. I was thinking maybe Sheamus,
Owens,
Samoa Joe,
Kevin
Owens. Yeah.
Kevin Owens. Well, then technically, didn't Kevin Owens already beat him for the U.S. title when he first came in? I mean, it would kind of be, I guess, how
he didn't beat him for the title, but he beat him in a fight.
Yeah. And foreshadowing, I guess you could say.
Braun
would be interesting. I don't see the angle there.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. Until we find our next John Cena, John Cena has to stay.
No.
I don't know who is it going to be.
No.
It could be McIntyre.
I like the idea of Keith Lee.
I'd rather McIntyre because I think
I would also rather McIntyre.
McIntyre as a face value right now is the highest face they have, and they have had in a long time.
They made him beat Brock.
Yeah.
They made him fucking beat Brock.
Yeah, the one they had before was Seth. Cena versus Seth.
No, I think it's a solid idea.
Creative corner, Alex?
No, I want to propose one more Mania match.
Okay. Zayn versus Owens, TLC.
No, this is an interesting one, and it requires a lot of things to happen.
Okay, so it's not going to happen, right?
Probably not. This involves Charlotte Flair not going for Asuka's title and dropping the tag titles. It makes... Oh, sorry, no. Charlotte has to beat Asuka for her title, drop the tag titles, and you have Rhea Ripley win the Rumble and challenge Charlotte Flair. The rematch.
That'd be nice.
Yes and no. Yes, because Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
No, because I'd rather see Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. Because that will force Rhea Ripley to work with someone else that she hasn't worked with before.
Yeah.
And it will just be better match organically.
I think that'd be good too. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley's a dark horse to win the Rumble, but is she going to win the Rumble?
Mm-hmm.
If she stays in NXT?
Oh, finally, the last segment, Creative Team Corner. Now, this is actually, I wasn't expecting anyone to mention what I was thinking of today, but one of you guys actually mentioned what I'm going to suggest for the Creative Team Corner. Drew McIntyre, when he first joined the WWE, was supposed to be the big thing for wrestling. for WWE. He was supposed to be the next face of the company, which never happened, or at least
Until now.
Not until now. When he came back, 300 pounds of muscle heavier and like 5 feet taller,
Looking like a killer.
yeah. But my question to you guys is kind of a what if scenario on if Drew McIntyre would have actually gone to be the top dog at that time. Do you think he would still be the man he is today? Do you think he would be
If he would have stayed?
Yeah, if he would have stayed and gotten the championship, kept it, tried to keep him as one of the top people of the company, do you think he would be the big guy he is now? Not necessarily in size. But
No, because he needed to go back to the Indies. To get the big Drew McIntyre we have today would have never happened if he didn't go back to the Indies.
Yeah.
And basically went into every company that they had and was like, I'm going to dominate this. Because he knew he was going to have a new finisher.
Yeah.
And he knew that he looked the part. All he had to do was reestablish himself. And it doesn't happen if he goes back to the Indies. If he stays in the company at that point, he would have probably done the same thing. Just stay and job, because once you're that low where they're trying to find a group of guys to be together, you just have nowhere else to turn. And Heath Slater is the one guy that probably stayed the longest out of everyone to do that. I don't see McIntyre being the same if he doesn't go back to the Indies, if he doesn't come back to the NXT and win the championship there, if he doesn't do all these things. I think he would have stayed where he was. I think he could have been the biggest flop in history with so much pressure coming up.
No,
but it's not like
it's kind of the Shinsuke slot.
Yeah, he had to go reinvent himself somewhere else.
Yeah,
he had to do it, and he wasn't going to do it. It's not R-Truth where he reinvents himself every time he has a chance. So I think he needed to go in the Indies. If he didn't go in the Indies, that would have just been not good for business.
Any thoughts?
No, I totally agree with Zach. That's literally like bang on of why he is what he is now. If he would have stayed the same, like just kept in the company, I agree. He probably would have been like a Shinsuke or Cesaro, or just kind of where he just kind of lose a bunch of matches, but but we all know that you have more in you. Like I'm glad he left, because it was the best thing for him and for the company as well, because when he came back, literally huge, he looked completely different. So I mean, which is awesome. And he's a WWE champion, so obviously he did something right?
Yeah, I think he found himself.
Yeah.
He was 23 when he started in WWE, which is very young. And he doesn't have he didn't really have the luxury of being in the right place at the right time. Because if you go back to when he started, you still had Triple H and Shawn, you still had Cena, you still had Big Show, you still had Jericho, you still had Edge, you still had Undertaker. So you weren't going to get a big opportunity right away, because those guys usually work with the same guys or try to make someone that they feel is ready for. And if you go back and look when he lost the Intercontinental title, there was nothing left.
Yep.
What could he have done? He wasn't booked in the right spot, and you just got to move on with that. But I'm excited for him. I'm happy for him. But the problem, you can't compare him and Shinsuke, because Shinsuke is a lot too old.
Yeah.
He can't go back and reinvent himself and come back. If Shinsuke leaves WWE, he's going to go to New Japan and be as big as he was there.
Yep.
So there would be no reinvention. McIntyre was young enough that he could reinvent. He could get a new look. He could get a new finisher. He could get to work with all these guys and then come up and be like, okay, I'm ready now. And he was. Like, could you name somebody else on the roster that was that young to come back and do that?
Nope.
Not right now. We will probably see something. You can say Dolph, or you can say, I don't know.
I would not say Dolph, because
the one guy, and you're probably not going to like this, but the one guy I'm thinking of is Aleister Black.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
He kind of has to go reinvent himself now.
The thing with Aleister Black is Vince never gave him a shot.
No, never did.
He never did.
Never did.
But
he gave him one shot. It was a tag team match at Mania. But was him and Ricochet, and how you're supposed to be flashy, but you're tagging with Ricochet. But yeah, we'll see. I think he needed that, honestly.
Before we end the stream, I have one question for both of you. Do you guys think that the 24/7 title ever changes hands to Little Jimmy? That's a very serious question.
I mean, hey,
I think that would be hilarious.
If he waits for the right moment and pins him, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
I'm not
yes.
I think it would be really good to have Little Jimmy turn on R-Truth one day and just R-Truth like laying down and a ref comes up and just starts counting when there's no one on him. And, just like,
and then he just acts like somebody's on him.
Yeah, I'm not commenting. No comment.
That's the end of our podcast. Zach, would you like to finish us off?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
Guys, don't forget to go follow us. Maritime Wrestletime on Facebook. Check out our YouTube stuff. We are going to be doing this new format, so we hope that you enjoy it. And our Twitter, I'm not really tweeting. I should probably get back on that.
I haven't used Facebook either.
Twitter was at MW1podcast.com. At MW1podcast on Twitter. And come follow us. Come help us. We are looking to be able to talk about wrestling for a long time, and we would love to have some support. Thank you very much, and have a good night.